Hello. Hi. You caught me out there. I was doing a little bit of Christmas shopping while I was listening. Yeah, it's a really great space. Thanks so much, Isla and Robbie and Louisa for hosting it. I wanted to come back again. Guess what? On a safeguarding angle, because I wanted to just reiterate the point that the guys that turn up to exhibit their paraphilias in public and nom 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 feed on all the attention, negative and positive, really are a distraction. We don't really need to regard them. What we need to do is we need to ask really searching questions about organisations that have laid themselves open to grooming by predatory men through the way that they've publicised massive flashing red lights that say predators welcome here. This has been going on with this particular organisation for several years, and women such as the wonderful Marjorie Hutchins, the wonderful Georgia Cross, myself, and others have consistently raised questions and highlighted the safeguarding angles that are at fault. The first clue, I think, came in the Time to Talk documentary that Stella O'Malley made for Channel 4.
Hi!
Yeah.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Lovely to meet you. I'm Stella.
Hello.
How's it going?
All right, thank you.
It's worth having a look. I'll never get over seeing Stephanie Hayton, who is David Hayton's wife, and she just looked distraught as David described how his paraphilia escalated to the degree that he was unable to hold it in, but at the same time he expected his wife to be the one to go around telling all the teachers at school, telling the people at church that they knew that this was the way it was going to be.
It fell mainly to Stephanie to break the news to their friends at church and to the teachers at their kids' schools. It was a huge ask of you.
Yes.
Because that woman did not have enough on her plate already, and he did not take a sadistic pleasure from humiliating her in front of all of her social contacts. And when Stella was asking questions about this, she said, "Oh, and isn't it great? You took it."
Huge ask of you.
Yes.
Yeah. A credit to you.
People say so.
Yeah.
I think I saw what Debbie was going through at the time, and even though I didn't understand it, I could see that it was meaningful and necessary, I think, for her.
But you took it.
I took it a step at a time.
Yeah. And Stephanie, the look she gave was just, you could see her reeling. Because it was just like saying to a prize fighter, oh, you took that uppercut really well and you didn't go down. Because that's what it was. It was just the craziest thing to say as a therapist to say to a woman who was in a coercively controlling relationship.
I took it a step at a time.
Yeah.
As did the kids. That's all you can do, really, a step at a time.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well done.
If such a massive blind spot was exposed there, that from that point on, I was like, right, okay, this organisation needs watching, because there's a clear blind spot when it comes to safeguarding in a really basic way. During that conversation, the kids were in the next room, and just like, obviously they know about everything that's gone on in their home, because Saints preserve us, he was unable to keep it private, keep it in his own head, and had to involve the entire family and local community and all of the pupils at the schools and all of the pupils that were influenced by his trades union and everybody that reads national newspapers. All have to be involved in validating this fetish, and it still isn't satisfied because these men escalate. But these men in themselves are not interesting. What we need to refocus our efforts on is the organisations that advertise themselves as open house for predators, and we need to be careful who we support. We need to ask questions of people that we support, because the way that people respond to those questions will tell you what you need to know, because safeguarding is everybody's business. And at any point in time, someone can come up to you and say, you said a thing the other day, and you know what, on reflection, that it's kind of upset me, because I thought, what would it be like for somebody who is in a different position who might hear that? And you have to be open to that kind of feedback from people, because we all make mistakes, we're all human, and safeguarding only works because we cover each other's backs, because we've all got blind spots. So when an organisation comes out guns blazing, when anybody makes a comment or highlights an overlooked issue, that needs to be regarded with real seriousness. And it went on from there, the platforming of these dodgy sexologists that have ideas about how sex isn't harmful for children, or how, you can be attracted to children all your life, but you'll never act on it. It's absolutely fine for us to include these men, and, right up to people that consider, objectifying the experiences of people that are disabled. All of it is foul, reprehensible, and should not be a subject of discussion in a public forum, in any public spaces, and certainly should be kept well away from vulnerable people who've been exposed to grooming and have sadly been victim to cult programming that they're desperately trying to claw their way back out of. GenSpect really need to make a decision about who are they for. Are they for these wealthy men with very disturbing and dark sexual interests? Or are they for the vulnerable women and children that these men hurt? Because you can't be both.
It became very obvious that delaying transition created a whole new set of burdens and challenges. It's certainly an argument for why young transitioners should begin the process sooner rather than later.
And to his credit, I see Ritchie in the queue to speak, and to his credit, I would like to highlight that he made a video response to a woman who was totally oblivious to the safeguarding angles, Aaron Tyrell, who made a video saying, I don't get it, what was it? I thought we were just fine with everybody wearing what they wanted. And I thought Ritchie's response was really compassionate and really sensitive, and showed that that it is possible for people to be caught up in this cult and then to come through the other side and think, hang on, that isn't right. I need to not expose people to this. And I also appreciated him talking about how perhaps it's not a great idea to platform detransitioners. Maybe detransitioners need to be spending time in private therapy, perhaps working with each other in a group way, in a very graded way, to start talking about their distress. But anywhere that's putting vulnerable people on a platform in a situation where they aren't being properly safeguarded concerns me deeply. So shout out to all the women who are so solid on safeguarding day in, day out. Marjorie, bless her, has been saying the same thing every day for years now, and thank God for her. And shout out to everybody that has had their eyes opened, and I'm so sorry for everybody that thought that this was the answer. There is no single answer, but whatever the answer is, it's not this.
Forgive me if I'm crass, but are you a lesbian couple now, or are you... I don't genuinely know.
No.
Okay.
I couldn't cope with sleeping in the same bed with someone whose body was changing in that way. So we now have separate beds in the same room, but we now have separate beds. Oh. So you say, well, you lost one relationship, but you gained another. Actually, lost one relationship, and the new one just seems to be, well, what's going on here? And it was
really difficult.
You know, I said earlier about just you take a step at a time. I remember quite vividly someone asking me how I was, and I said, I'm living a few hours at a time at the moment, and that's all I could do is live a few hours at a time. And then it got longer.
Thanks.
You know, Claire, I'm actually feeling like I might have to sue you for a breach of the Trade Descriptions Act for saying that your thoughts are outrageous, because every time you come into one of these spaces, they're always perfectly reasonable, honestly.